Hello, welcome to Creatively Free. I'm your host, Ariel Grace. Today we are going to be talking about something that is quite exciting for me and my girls. I mentioned it briefly in an episode, I think it was the second episode that I did about minding the gap in your vision and meeting reality with your vision. And I mentioned that I had a fantasy graphic novel that I had been working on for several years. And that after I did a lot of storyboarding work around it, it kind of got blocked. I didn't know what my next step was. I was thinking about relocating. I had a lot going on, and I boxed it up and I relocated and I moved to this beautiful home that I'm in, and I've been settling in with my girls for the last several months. And now, since the holidays, since launching this podcast, and since working through different notions of what creative projects wanted to come through me and what I wanted to sign up for, that I had space for in my life. A couple of weeks ago, I was going through my files and found that storybook in PDF of my world, my graphic novel. And my youngest daughter, Siena, asked me to read it to her before bed. So we read it and we had a really good time reading through it. And the next night, she came to me and said, I want you to read it again. And this time, I started doing some silly voices for the characters, and we laughed and we giggled, and I started to feel some inquiry around it. I started to remember both that I felt overwhelmed by it in the past and that it felt heavy and weighted when I got into the vision of what it could be. But I also felt that something was shifting around it, that something was playful. My daughter was getting so excited about the Lumins. Those are the characters in the book. And they're these little underwater creatures that are about 2 inches tall. And they live along the jetties, along the ocean. And the jetties, if you don't know what a jetty is, it's big man-made coal material or cement materials along the ocean shores that they'll put along beaches to help orient the tide and gauge the sand and allow for sand that they bring into the shoreline to stay in place. And the Lumins build glass homes around the jetties and protect their world because they're so small and vulnerable by the sea foam along the tops of the shore that crash from the waves and create foam. And they also deliver beach glass or sea glass to humans. And there's a beautiful storyline, a hero's journey, all the magic in this story. And so as we got into it, I was just sitting with it. I didn't know what to do with it yet. And I started talking about it more and thinking about it more. And I decided it was time to start taking more action with it. So I started looking for some illustrators, and I found an illustrator that I am really excited about her interpretation of the main character and some of the work she's doing. And so I've self-funded a little bit, a few pages of illustrations, and I'm going to be submitting packages of this to Scholastic and some other places around children's graphic novels, and also kicking off a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo. So I would love if you would be willing to, if this interests you, if you want to support me and my daughters, we're doing this together as a mother-daughter experience. And if you would love to see our journey along this path, then I will include the link to the Indiegogo campaign. I would love for you to share it and tell kids and parents and teachers and schools about it. We are super jazzed to fund more illustrations and work towards getting this published, broadly. And it's going to be a series. It's part of what's called the Glimmer series. And there will be at least 3 books. And beyond that, I want it to become an animated film. So all of this is going to happen. And as I talk about, it's not up to me to figure out the how of it all. I'm just starting to put it in the world and get excitement around it and involve other people in both the history of my life, some magical parts about my life and my childhood, and how this is translated into how me and my girls are creating in the world together. So it's really beautiful, and I'm excited to start sharing it more with the world, and I'd love to see you come over and join our journey. I hope you have an amazing day. Thanks for tuning in.
Visit igg.me-at-glimmer series or click the link in the comments.